Welcome to the PALS program video on applying to high school. We hope this video will provide an overview of what you will need to submit applications to any high schools where you're interested. This is Ms. Shadid, Director of the PALS program, and we're thrilled that you're joining us today. Not all high schools will follow the same set of requirements or expectations to apply. However, the following are some components you can expect to need for at least some of the schools where you will apply. Number one will be the application, and that will either be by paper or online. That will include the essay section, which might require you to write something new or submit an essay you've already completed for school. Standardized testing is very likely. That would be the high school placement test, the independent school entrance exam, or secondary school admissions test. Your school transcript from middle school will need to be sent to admissions offices, and you are likely to be asked to interview by the admissions office. Recommendations requested from teachers, a principal or counselor, or personal, someone who knows you well, will probably also be a part of this application. Then there are additional requirements from schools. Those can be an online inquiry form, completing a shadow day event, or going on a school tour. Lastly, if you plan to apply for financial aid, that process will have its own application and deadlines and requirements, so pay close attention. The application. Each school will determine which applications they accept. There are three major applications online: Gateway to Prep Schools, the Standard Application Online, and Ravenna Online Application. If you have a school that accepts one of these, you want to use it. These three are standardized applications, meaning what you complete within that online form will be sent to all schools that accept it. This is the fastest way to complete your applications versus the fourth one noted here, the online school application. If you're applying to 4 schools and they all offer their own application, but also one of the standardized ones above, you would be better off filling out the standardized application rather than 4 very different applications online. Some schools where you will apply will not give you a choice, and it's important to keep track of this and pay attention to which applications are accepted by which schools so that you can meet all of the deadlines in a timely fashion. Some schools will have a printed school application, which you need to actually print out and fill out and then mail back. So what's in the application? You'll need to answer questions about you and your family, your biographical and background information. Schools will want to know about where you currently attend school and if you've attended other schools in recent years. If you've already taken standardized testing required to apply, they'll want to know the scores, and if not, they'll want to know when you plan to take these tests. There will be a section to talk about anything you do beyond the classroom, so any clubs or groups you belong to, sports or community service you're a part of. This goes for activities that belong in your school, but also things you might do beyond school. There will also be a section most likely for multimedia links, so if you have an arts portfolio or other talent you'd like to share, you will be able to do that. There will likely be a parent section that needs to be completed, and the essays. The essays are an opportunity to learn about you through you. They get to hear your voice and see your writing style. You want your essays to sound like you, an 8th grader, not an adult, family member, or teacher. Schools might require 1 or more essay, and they might have essay prompts specifically written for their school, or they might be asking that you submit a graded essay from the 8th grade school year. Standardized testing. Each school will determine which tests they accept. Much like the online application forms, if you are applying to schools that all accept the same test, that should be the test where you focus your energy. If you're applying to a set of schools where some accept one and some accept another, you might need to take more than one standardized test in order to apply to all of the schools on your list. The major tests that high schools are going to require will be the high school placement test, or the HSPT, and this is often used by Catholic high schools, the independent school entrance exam, or the ISEE, and the secondary school admission test, SSAT. You will see on the PALS website a document outlining the most recent year's requirements, so that might help you determine which tests you need to take. Students who are applying to public schools, such as Abbott Lawrence Academy and Greater Lawrence Technical School, are often going to be required to submit your MCAS scores, at least through 7th grade. Your school transcript will be required when you apply to any high school. This transcript is an official record of grades from your middle school. You will need to request this to be sent by your school counselor or your school's office. What's on the middle school transcript? The courses you have taken, the course levels, so if there were any honors or accelerated courses, those will be noted on there, and then any final grades that you received. Depending on your school, there might also be your attendance record, absences and tardies, and potentially your MCAS scores. But those categories are not standard. And what will not be on your transcript, there will not be any teacher comments, and there will not be grades from any individual assignments that you turned in. Letters of recommendation. These are an opportunity to hear about you as a student beyond just grades and test scores. Each application and school has different requirements. You might be required to ask teachers. Usually these are your English and math teacher, and sometimes the school you're applying to is as specific as telling you it has to be from this year, your 8th grade English and math teacher. Pay close attention to those requirements and follow what is being asked of you. Your principal or school counselor might need to be asked, and then you might have a requirement or an option to submit a personal recommendation. And this could be a mentor, a coach, a friend, a religious figure in your life, someone who knows you well, but this cannot be a relative. Letters from the school, so your teachers or your principal or school counselor, will discuss your academic ability, your work habits, and your involvement in the school community. Personal letters will speak to your qualities and characteristics outside of school. All of them are designed to give admissions officers a better sense of who you are and who you will be on the high school campus if admitted. The admissions interview. This is a meeting or conversation to get to know you better. It's usually conducted by a member of the school's admissions office. This could be an admissions counselor. It could be conducted by someone who graduated from that high school, an alumni interview, or it could be conducted by a faculty or staff member of the school. Regardless of who is conducting this interview, they are all considered the same in terms of the admissions interview process, and a summary of your interview will be written up and added to your admissions file. In this conversation, they will ask questions about many topics. This could be about your family and background, your school and extracurricular interests, and why you're applying to this school. This is also an opportunity for you to ask questions about the school and what it's like to be a student there. So you want to have some in mind that you'd like to ask before you get to that interview. Some other requirements that you might see from schools. An inquiry form. This is an online form on the school's admission website that allows you to express interest in applying. And some schools require that you fill out this inquiry form before opening up an application or requesting a school tour or interview. So pay attention to those requirements. Some schools do require that you come to campus or do this virtually, a school tour or shadow day event. And part of your application is whether or not you completed this. A school tour allows you to see and explore the campus. It is typically conducted by a student who is trained by the admissions office. And the goal of it is to point out specific aspects of the school's facilities and features and to allow you to ask questions that are on your mind. Shadow Day is somewhat similar to a tour, except it allows you to follow an actual current student through their daily schedule and see what classes are like, as well as what other things are like, free time and sports. Those events will be a little bit more restricted in terms of who can attend and how often they are available versus school tours, but pay attention to what is required by the schools where you are applying. Another requirement that has come up on some schools' websites is the character skills snapshot. And this is an assessment online by the company that owns the SSAT. And it is measuring different qualities of you as your personality. A student SSAT account must be created to register for this assessment. Not all schools require it. At this point, very few actually require it, but some will take it as an optional component of your application. You should look and see if you need it, and if not, you might not engage with this snapshot. If you're applying for financial aid, this will very likely be a separate application than the one you are completing to apply to the school. Though on the school's application, they might ask you whether or not you plan to apply for financial aid. The application for financial aid might also have a different deadline than the school's application, and you should keep track of when those are due so that you are making sure to meet all deadlines. Most financial aid applications are fairly comprehensive, meaning they're going to ask a lot of questions and require you and your family to work together to complete them. They will ask about family income, and you'll likely need some tax documents in order to complete aspects of the application. They'll ask about family assets, meaning what do you own, a home or cars, and what are the values of those things. They'll ask about expenses in your family and what you're paying money for, as well as bank account balances and how much you have in different accounts for your family and savings or checking. Completing the application. You want to know your requirements. You want to take the tests and complete the applications that are accepted by the most schools that you will apply to, so that you can cut down on how many tests and how many applications you need to complete. You need to keep track of deadlines. You can use a spreadsheet or record this in a notebook, but you don't want to miss any deadlines. The application process is a mirror for you as a student. So if things are coming in late, that sends a signal to schools that you might be late with your assignments or late to school or not paying as close attention to the details as you need to. You want to put forth the strongest application possible within the window of time that you have. If you're applying for financial aid, make sure that you do that. When your school applications are done, be sure to go through and make sure you've finished up everything else needed for financial aid so that this process is complete. If you have questions, what should you do? If your questions are about the school where you will apply or a specific piece of their application, you should contact that school's admissions office. If you have general questions about your application or applications that will go to multiple schools, if you need support with an essay or help actually filling out the web pages to get this done, you should talk to your middle school counselor, or you can reach out to the PALS program at pals@andover.edu.
Hi, this is Steve Silverthorne, Director of Admissions at Austin Prep. When you're looking at completing your application, you're almost done. I think you should reach back out to the admissions officer that you've been in touch with just to let them know. I think it's a nice touch point and keeps that personal connection going. Also, there are certain dates to keep in mind. Some schools have different ones, and there might be an early application process. Just like at Austin Prep, December 15th is our early application deadline. All applications that are submitted by that time get processed together. That's the first time our admissions review committee meets. That's the first time our financial aid review committee meets. And then we go into rolling admissions. These are important things to remember as you're looking through.
Another part of the application is the application essay. Most schools will require this when you are filling out your application. Schools will send you a few prompts, a few ideas for the topics for your essay, and you should read them. Think about which one you can talk about most easily. Take some notes and start thinking about how you want to write that application essay. Now remember something. This does not have to be perfect. It is again another way for us to get to know you. So do take your time on it. Talk to friends, family, talk about your ideas, write down your thoughts, have somebody look at it when you're done with it. Again, we don't expect perfection, but you want to make sure there's no major mistakes in the essay, such as a misspelling or some grammar that could be better. One piece of advice: don't wait to finish your application because you're so nervous about writing the essay. It is just one part of this application, and it's a great way for us to get to know something new about you that maybe we didn't see in your application. So again, we're not expecting perfection. Don't hold off on doing the essay because it will hold up your whole application. And if you need to talk through it with friends or family or teachers, go ahead and do that. Just do your best. We have a lot of ways of getting to know you, and this is just one more way. And reach out to the school if you have any questions. Good luck and have fun with that essay.